50 has just dropped shocking new footage that's got the whole internet buzzing, and it shows a side of Diddy nobody expected to see. In the clip, Diddy looks tense, rattled, and nowhere near as comfortable as people were claiming online.
This guy's life might be danger over here because people think that he has something to do with Pac, people think he has something to do with Biggie, and they right here in Brooklyn. You understand? It's right here in Brooklyn, and some of the people are still mad that he made Making of the Band walk to Brooklyn from, to get the cheesecake, and just around the corner from the Cheesecake Factory. So, Juniors. So it might be some dumb shit. So y'all need to get him out of here and ship him to Jersey because somebody gonna kill him over here. Those are good arguments, if you want to call it, but it's bullshit. He gonna get the same treatment no matter how much money he got.
For weeks, stories were flying around saying he was relaxed behind bars, sipping wine, giving business advice, and acting like prison was just another luxury stop. But this footage flips that whole story upside down fast. Now the talk is shifting and people are saying the energy around him is way darker than anyone thought. New reports are now spreading that Diddy might actually be in serious danger, and the reason has caught a lot of people off guard.
Now, it was this documentary that claimed, which we know wasn't true.
Yeah, check this out. We don't talk about things that are nonsense. We don't even entertain nonsense, my brother. So we're not even going to go there, with all due respect, but I appreciate you as a journalist asking. Thank you.
Because listen, 7 years ago, I'd have been like, yo, did you hire somebody to Pac? But no, you do it like a journalist.
Yeah, no, we wouldn't even get into nonsense like that. You know what I'm saying? It's nonsense.
Which we never believed, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
Word on the street is that certain individuals connected to Tupac are not feeling forgiving at all, and that has people questioning what's really going on behind those walls. This isn't about comfort anymore. It's about survival, and the mood has clearly changed. For decades, the deaths of Tupac Shakur and the notorious Big have hung over hip-hop like a heavy shadow. Two legends gone too soon, and the pain never really faded. Diddy has always denied having anything to do with either loss, standing firm every time his name came up in the conversation. Still, the rumors never fully died down. Tupac was hit in Las Vegas on September 7th, 1996, and after fighting for 6 days, he passed at just 25 years old. Then, only 6 months later, Biggie was killed in Los Angeles in a strikingly similar way on March 9th, 1997.
Do you think Puffy was involved in the shooting?
Only they can answer that question. I have my own opinion, but I wouldn't slander their name like they did mine. I wouldn't say things that I knew, you know what I mean? I believe so. I do believe so. I have proved things that I can say that will back up my claim, but this is not for the world to know about. You know what I mean? It's between me and him, and only he knows. So every time he say it didn't happen, that's the only thing that makes this become an issue to everybody. Because you seen what I said in the Vibe article. I basically bowed out and was going to go ahead about my life. The next issue, that wasn't even the next issue because them cowards waited about 4 issues before they got their story together. 4 issues later, half of New Yorkers commenting on me getting shot. And before, they was all like, we didn't see nothing. In the first issue, read it, Vibe viewers. Nobody seen shit. The 4th issue, when they came back with a reply, everybody knew what I did. They knew what I said. I was acting. Who gets shot 5 times in acts? Oh, I didn't get shot 5 times in their vision. I only got shot once because they found the bullet. The police found it, but now they the cops. Now they doing detective work. They found the bullet. Oh, you found the bullet, huh? So what is this other shit in me then? What was the doctors talking about? What? Can you explain these other holes in me? How'd I get gunpowder all over me? That insulted my intelligence. So yes, I did say Thug Life was there. Yes, I bowed out, all of that. But when they said that, they breathed new life in me.
The culture was rocked back to back, right in the middle of the explosive East Coast versus West Coast feud. It wasn't just music, it was pride, loyalty, and deep tension. And as Biggie's close ally and label boss, Diddy's name kept surfacing again and again. The Netflix docu-series Sean Combs' The Reckoning, which premiered on December 2nd, poured gasoline on conversations that never really went away. The series didn't just revisit old questions, it dragged them straight back into the spotlight with force. Multiple voices in the documentary openly suggested that Diddy may have played a role in events people have been side-eyeing for decades, and that alone had viewers glued to their screens. Bad Boy co-founder Kirk Burrows stepped up with a chilling breakdown of how things shifted. He explained that early on, Diddy and Tupac Shakur ran in the same music circles, moving with similar crews and connections, but everything changed on November 30th, 1994.
In an interview of him being there to spy on Big, Jimmy Henchman told him that they finna show Pac, teach Pac a lesson. Because Pac had owed him some money. So that's why he was up in the studio and was coming to the studio. Pac owed him some money. He was gonna work it off and get some money from doing a song with Lil Sean. And that's what that was about. But Pac was talking greasy to Jimmy Henchman, and Jimmy Henchman wasn't the type of dude that you talk greasy to, allegedly. Unless you're 50 Cent.
So Diddy knew what was going to happen to Pac.
He knew Pac was about to deal well, yeah. He was there to see it. He was there to see it. He wasn't only there to see Big them. When Jimmy Henchman told him that, he was there to see what's going to happen to Pac. He was there for that. Because had he not been there for that, he would have went up there in the office. He would have went to the studio or the studio session with Big them. He would have went to that studio session with Big them. He knew what room Big them was in. He didn't do that. He was there to see what was going to happen to Pac after Jimmy told him. And that's factual.
Gene says this lines up with what Kirk Burrows has also claimed, that Diddy played a role behind the scenes. And if money...
Half of it got paid, $500, I don't know. I know when I asked him about, we asked him, do we ask? No, we didn't ask him. I know when he showed us a check and he walked away after he showed us the check for the $1 million, you understand?
That night, Tupac walked into Quad Studios in New York to lay down a guest verse for Diddy's artist, Lil Sean. Instead, he was ambushed, robbed, and shot 5 times in the lobby. He survived, but mentally, nothing was ever the same. From that moment forward, Tupac's trust in Diddy and Biggie was completely broken. In a 1996 interview with Vibe magazine, Tupac was asked straight up if he believed Diddy was involved, and the tension in that moment said everything.
Keefe D's claim was an informant in 1997 who told investigators that Puffy had hired the Southside Crips to kill both Suge and Tupac, and that the Crip who was jumped at the MGM was in the group that had done the hit, and that they originally were going to do it at Suge's Vegas nightclub, but then decided to do it right away instead of waiting. This was exactly the same story that Keefe D told us a decade later. Very few people know that immediately after Tupac is shot and that white Cadillac is fleeing, one of the death row entourage, a guy named Alton McDonald, known as Buntry, chases after the Cadillac, and a second shooting takes place between the two vehicles. Alton McDonald's car is struck. In fact, within the Las Vegas murder files, there's a document that indicates that Alton McDonald's car had been struck by a bullet that night.
Yeah, and he even said that, like, in retrospect, that was probably the best thing that could have ever happened to Puffy. By Zip stealing the money, now Puffy isn't connected to that shit. Or else it would have been like a hire or something, you know what I'm saying?
The FBI said it was just Zip.
So the FBI told you the
same thing. They said he was
thing.
a dirty motherfucker.
So the FBI told you that Zip kept that money as well.
They said Zip's a dirty motherfucker. Everybody crossed you. You're the last one to know every fucking thing. Even lawyers, your friends, everybody can cross your ass.
The Quad Studios shooting was never solved, but Gene Deal later claimed Diddy already knew Tupac would be shot and allowed it to happen. He also said a 50 Cent documentary mentioned the incident, but skipped one critical detail that could change how people see the entire situation. According to Gene Deal, that same day wasn't random at all. He says Diddy, Andre Harrell, and Jimmy Henchman were all posted up together inside Jimmy's office. What makes it wild is Gene claims the notorious Big and Suge Knight had no clue this meeting was even happening. Gene insists Diddy wasn't there by chance, not even close. He says Diddy was watching Biggie closely because he controlled Biggie's publishing at the time. Biggie was writing fresh material, moving sharp, and Gene believes Diddy wanted eyes on everything. That's why, according to Gene, Diddy was in the building to monitor Biggie, not to collaborate with him.
Too much.
While they were together, Gene claims Jimmy Henchman told Diddy that Tupac Shakur was going to be taught a lesson over money Tupac allegedly owed. Gene says this lines up perfectly with what Kirk Burrow has also claimed, that Diddy played a role behind the scenes. And if money was involved, Gene believes Kirk would know exactly where it came from. Most of the people tied to that moment are gone now, but Gene makes one thing clear: money doesn't disappear. Paper trails don't die, and he believes the truth is still sitting in records, checks, and transactions that can be followed. Nearly 2 years later came the Las Vegas shooting that took Tupac's life, another case left unsolved, and for decades it's kept rumors and theories running nonstop through hip-hop culture.
They wasn't going out to no party.
Then September 2023 hit and the whole narrative cracked wide open. Dwayne Keith D. Davis was arrested and officially charged with murder, a move that shocked the culture. Prosecutors didn't tiptoe around it either, saying Davis played a major role in what happened that night in Las Vegas. After decades of silence, the case suddenly had a pulse again. Things got even crazier in July 2024 when a court filing exposed something no one saw coming.
Coming in, he was friendly with Big. He saw Little Sean, people like that. They wanted him to come and do a record. That was what was set up at Quad. Biggie, knowing Little Sean, they were all there, C's, all of them. It was just gonna be a fun night at the studio. Pac showed up, he saw them looking down from the window. His new friends were there. An incident happened in the elevator. It might have been a scary thing, like just to send a message. Tupac standing his own ground, just didn't leave it at that. He ended up getting hit, getting shot. The elevator went up. Our people were shocked to see him in that state. He was shocked to see our people looking at him shot. He thought that they knew something about it. He thought if he was in New York and he was with all the rappers from the East, they must have known what was going to happen. It had to be in the wind, and situations aren't laid out like that. And it was the furthest thing from the truth, but he held that to his heart. And then he went away. A few other things happened, got better, got repaired, went away, went to jail on the rape charge. Once that came down on him, it looked as if the East Coast must have been the worst thing and the worst place for him to have come to. And it looks as if the friends that he had just turned their backs on him. Suge stepped in. And when Suge stepped in, he signed him. He signed him to a napkin at Clinton. And that letter that he sent through Wendy Day, she was definitely a person that was connected and a mediator between most everyone in the hip hop game and had been for a minute, legendary person. She delivered the letter to my office. It started with West Side Up. So it gave an indication of rumblings that we heard in the street with him being shined by Suge was definitely true. He's gonna go west when he come back, and he has an issue with us.
Spills that.
Buried inside was a previously undisclosed 2009 police interview, and it raised serious eyebrows. In that interview, Davis allegedly described his own role in Tupac Shakur's murder and repeatedly brought up Diddy's name, claiming Diddy was the one who ordered the shooting. That single detail sent shockwaves everywhere. According to Davis, Diddy was furious over Tupac's nonstop insults and public pressure, a DEA and U.S. Department of Justice report also referenced a 2008 interview where Davis claimed Diddy said he needed to get rid of Suge Knight and Tupac, allegedly offering $1 million to make the problem disappear. What made it even more intense is that Davis told the exact same story again more than a decade later, without changing key details. Very few people know that right after Tupac was shot and the white Cadillac sped off, chaos continued. One member of the death row entourage, Alton McDonald, also known as Buntry, allegedly chased the Cadillac, leading to a second exchange of gunfire between the vehicles. His car was struck, and Las Vegas police files reportedly include documentation confirming a bullet hit his vehicle that same night.
My perceptions have changed slightly, gradually over time. Today, I look at Diddy with through a different lens than I might have 10, 15 years ago. There were obviously some early red flags, but it's a complicated thing because we have to be very careful about falsely accusing people or even, making accusations based on nothing more than speculation. And we just haven't seen all the evidence. So I prefer to kind of withhold judgment on some things. I can tell you regarding Diddy back when Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls were murdered. He wasn't exactly cooperative. He didn't do what you would assume a friend or, you know, a manager, so to speak, would do. So from a law enforcement perspective, he was very unhelpful in an area where he ought to have been contributing towards getting some type of justice in those two murder cases. But as we found out in time, he was complicit in one of them, and which would make sense why maybe he didn't cooperate in the other, because the two were, you know, they were just, we always understood that they were somehow interconnected. And so if you're going to cooperate or provide information on one and you're culpable in the other, you know, one thing could lead back to the next. And that's where I think he understood his.
Through all of this, Diddy has denied every allegation, standing firm as these explosive claims continue to resurface. By July 2024, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department made a clear public statement that shook some narratives and backed others. They said Sean Combs has never been considered a suspect in the Tupac Shakur homicide investigation. Diddy has never been charged, never arrested, and officially remains untouched by the case. Meanwhile, Dwayne Keith D. Davis has pleaded not guilty and is still sitting in custody as his trial keeps getting pushed back.
A woman by the name of Wendy Day, very important woman in the hip hop world. I think she helped Baby and those guys with Cash Money label, setting that up. She's very influential and instrumental in a lot of success. When I started in the music business, I reached out to her. She had a company called Rap Coalition. She went back and helped rappers from a previous generation get their money straight, their royalties. With that being said, I was like, she's someone I want to know. In knowing her, I had the good fortune of when she was dealing with Tupac during his crises on the East Coast, she went to visit him at Clinton. He wrote a letter, drafted it, so that she can bring it to me at the office so that I could know and be able to relate to Sean where we were with him. And the letter, if I remember, it said, West Side up. And what we had heard was rumblings that Suge came and signed him on a napkin to a contract, and he was going to go west, and all the stuff that happened to him on the east, and made it look like people on the east, King or the biggest rappers on the east, or people that he knew, should have warned him or protected him against what had happened. And it just is not geographically laid out like that. And a lot of people caught some blame for things that they had nothing to do with. And he took offense, went west, and that started him as a mouthpiece against the East, all right, going at Biggie. And I think it's more than, that's one level of the beef. Then I think there's another level of things that were going on in the streets where things happened in the dividing line between East and West that caused a big rift that led to mouthpieces going at each other.
After Tupac's death, the tension didn't cool off, it got worse. According to people close to the situation, Diddy and his East Coast circle were warned straight up not to travel to the West Coast. The streets were hot, emotions were high, and the risk was real. Still, Diddy decided to move forward anyway to promote the Notorious B.I.G.'s upcoming album, Even with Danger in the Air. This is something Gene Deal has also backed up publicly. Gene revealed that Clark Kent, who was close to Biggie, admitted he questioned why Biggie was even outside that night. Biggie was supposed to be traveling, not partying.
We need people to put people out here that's doing shit like this, that's taking from people's families, that's beating women, that's drugging women. I ain't got a problem with it. Let's go to war. Bruh, first of all, they're gonna try to get his baby mama stories, you know. They're gonna try to get 50 baby mama stories. They're gonna try to get girls that he probably dated. that he had problems and issues with and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna try to do the same thing they probably did to R. Kelly or Puff or whatever like that, and people tell their stories. You understand? But you know, they trying to retaliate on what he did. Let him go ahead, bruh. Because I think he ready for it. You don't do this shit, and you don't do the stuff that he did or sign on to the stuff that he did with Puff. Unless you got your shit in order. Don't throw no stone if you live in a glass house. Don't throw no stone if you live in a glass house. I believe 50 ready for it. If they come at him any kind of way. I heard that Diddy is trying to sue Netflix for $1 billion. Ain't nothing came up in court. That's just talk, bro. No paperwork has been put in and signed into that. They're gonna have to have a reason. If they were suing him and he had enough reason, why they didn't cease and desist the thing? Huh? If he had a leg to stand on, why they didn't cease and desist the documentary? They're just people talking. Headline news. Because had it been filed in court and they had a leg to stand on, they'd have been bringing that stuff down. Oh, we can't show it no more.
When Clark asked why they were headed to the Peterson Museum, Biggie told him it was set up by Puffy and someone else, something Gene says he only learned years later. What still eats at Gene the most is security. He says he asked for more protection and pushed hard but was shut down. Puffy allegedly said there wasn't enough money. Later in the docu-series, former LAPD detective Greg Kading shared his belief about how events unfolded, while witnesses described Biggie's shooter as a black man in a blue tuxedo with a bow tie. No one has ever been arrested, no one charged, and decades later, both murders remain officially unsolved, with Diddy still free of any charges. That may be about to change because more connections are starting to surface, and they're making people look at Diddy's alleged involvement in Pac's murder a whole lot differently. The dots people once ignored are now lining up fast, and the pressure around this story keeps getting heavier by the day. According to Kirk Burrow, the tension was already thick long before Tupac Shakur ever stepped foot inside Quad Studios. Trust was shaky, egos were loud, and the industry was packed with silent rivalries that didn't need words. When Tupac was robbed and shot inside that building, Burrow says the fallout was instant and brutal. From that moment on, nothing between the camps ever felt the same again. Burrow says Tupac later warned him that things were no longer about music at all. The message was cold and direct. Tupac believed it had turned into war with Puffy and the Notorious Big, and there was no confusion in his tone, no room for misreading it. In Tupac's mind, Quad Studios was the breaking point that flipped the entire situation. From Burrow's perspective, that moment marked the real beginning of the feud spinning completely out of control, long before the violence that would later shock the world ever unfolded. On the other side of this story, Chopper is standing 10 toes down on his belief that Sean Combs was almost certainly behind Tupac Shakur's death. He says the energy wasn't rivalry, wasn't competition, and definitely wasn't industry drama. According to Chopper, it was personal hate, deep-rooted and raw, and he admits it took time before he truly understood how far that resentment went. Now things get even messier because 50 Cent is allegedly leaking footage and information straight to outlets like TMZ and other major news aggregators. And if Gene Deal is telling the truth, retaliation could be coming fast and hard because pressure like this doesn't just slide by quietly. With all these stories colliding, public eyes are locked in tighter than ever. If you're rocking with this breakdown, make sure to like the video, subscribe to stay locked in, and share this with anyone who's been following this saga, because this story is far from cooling off.